Welcome back to Syncrets To Success, the podcast. This is day 13. I am Marcus Fingaz, Dafingaz on social media. I'm a music composer who is diving into the world of sync licensing and trailer music. And today for day 13, we're going to dive into the crucial, imperative aspect of sync licensing and copyright law. Now, before we get into some of the things I will share from my perspective about copyright law, I am not a lawyer. This is not legal. This shouldn't be taken as legal consultation. Definitely seek out a lawyer if you have any questions about the legalities, or if you have any contracts or negotiations you're working on in the sync space and you want to get appropriate legal guidance for that. Seek out an entertainment lawyer, and particularly if you can find one who focuses on sync licensing, even better. So, understanding the copyright implications and legal considerations is essential for us as composers, because we like to protect our intellectual property and ensure, a smooth and lawful sync licensing process. The basics. Let's start with the basics of copyright law and how it applies to sync licensing. Copyright is a legal protection granted to us as creators of original works, including music, that gives us exclusive rights to reproduce, distribute, perform, and display our creations. Again, copyright gives us the right to reproduce, distribute, perform, and display our creations. When we compose a piece of music, we automatically become the copyright holders of that piece. I'm going to say that again. When we create a piece of music, we automatically become the copyright holders of that piece. You don't have to register it with the Copyright Office. You don't have to send it to BMI to be the copyright holder. As soon as you fix it in a tangible medium, which can be, software, it can be a CD or tape if you make those, or vinyl. Once it is fixed in the medium, you are the copyright holder of that. Musical work typically involves multiple copyright holders, such as composers, lyricists, producers, beatmakers, things like that. And each copyright holder has distinct rights over their contributions to the work. In sync licensing, it's crucial to obtain permission from all relevant copyright holders before licensing the music for visual media. That is called a one-stop. What you want to do when you are collaborating with artists is you want to make sure you have an agreement in place that clearly outlines the percentages, who owns what. You don't have to say who wrote what, but you can say the percentages of both the master and the publishing side. You also, if you want to be able to pitch the song to multiple outlets, you want to have what's called a one-stop sheet, where everyone signs off and says, hey, this person can send our music to any opportunities that come our way. Or you can have a one-stop that says everyone can pitch the music to other opportunities. Just make sure you let people know if you're pitching it to an exclusive opportunity, so that they can stop pitching it to other opportunities. So you want to make sure those agreements are in place. With the copyright, a lot of people ask, do you copyright your music? Do you register your copyright to your music with the Copyright Office once it's made? I'm going to say this. It depends. On sync and in trailers, a lot of times the things we're working on are last minute. And also a lot of times we're making so much music, to copyright that would clearly be a 5-figure business a year, to copyright everything we make. Now, you can bundle things together. I think you can register up to 30 tracks at once, like on a album, or you can upload it to the Copyright Office. And I don't know the current fee. I think it used to be like 30, maybe it went higher, to register that project, or 30 per song. So it does add up if you want to register each individual thing. It's a little less expensive if you put it on like an album. But in a lot of cases, we're working on briefs that are due today or tomorrow, or things that are due within a week. And a lot of times, to get your song registered with the Copyright Office is a long process. It could take you send it in, and it might be a month before you get the confirmation back. So just keep that in mind. It does help protect you against having people steal your music. But for the most part, most people are not looking to steal your music. They might get inspired by your music, but for the most part, I'll say they're not looking to steal your music. So most composers that I know in the sync space, in the trailer space, are not copywriting their music. And it's not something that I would say you have to do, but if you want to do it just to be safe, you can do it. And then navigating fair use and public domain considerations in sync licensing. That's another side of sort of the copyright law. Fair use allows for limited use of copyrighted material without seeking permission, but it's such a complex and often debated area of copyright law. As composers, we have to recognize when fair use might apply to our music and when it applies to the works we incorporate into our composition. So if you're using a sample or something and you're like, it's fair use, I think one fair use case you can make is if it's for educational purposes and you're not selling it, things like that. But don't quote me on that. Very rarely do I have to make fair use cases because I'm not usually sampling. And if I am, for the most part, I'm trailerizing something, which is a whole different side of things. We'll probably do another episode on that. But along with fair use, you have public domain. Public domain music is not protected by copyright law, and it's free for anyone to use without permission. However, not all public domain music is automatically eligible for sync licensing. So we should know, we should be aware of the specific rules governing public domain music to avoid legal issues. Also, you might have a public domain song that you cannot use in your sync music or on your project because the arrangement of that public domain song is copyrighted. The master of that song is copyrighted. So you may have to come up with another arrangement. Maybe you reimagine, if let's say Happy Birthday, the main theme of it actually is, I believe, I don't know if it's owned by Disney now or it was owned by Disney, but the version of Happy Birthday that we all know is copyrighted, or at some point was copyrighted. So that's why in a lot of restaurants, they make their own version of Happy Birthday, because if they sing the original version of Happy Birthday, they have to pay the copyright owner. I thought it was Disney. It might have switched by now, but that's why it's important. And imagine how many times Happy Birthday is sung, like in a movie and things like that. That payment had to go to a company that owns that Happy Birthday. But when Happy Birthday falls in the public domain, there's going to be a lot of renditions of the original Happy Birthday or the Happy Birthday theme. So to protect our own intellectual property, composers must take proactive steps to avoid copyright infringement. As I mentioned, you can go register your music with copyright offices. You can't use copyrighted material without permission or attribution, because that can lead to legal consequences. And the same way people can't use your property without your permission, which is why we get agreements from these sync libraries and sync agencies and music supervisors stating everything that's going to be involved with our agreement with them, meaning they could have power of attorney. They can enter into agreements with our music that is listed on the Schedule A, which would be the music that this company will represent. And every time you send the music, they should send you a Schedule A update or a Schedule A sheet that says, hey, this music's been added to our catalog. Schedule A, either not exclusively or exclusively, whatever the case is. But when you hear Schedule A, I've seen Schedule B in some cases. When you start seeing Schedule, that's basically the list of songs that you have signed to a specific library or agent or music supervisor or things like that. So there's a lot in the music law space. It's copyright, it's sync licensing space. So we have to make sure that our music that we have it properly protected. Maybe we have timestamps on our DAW sessions. I know people that have fought their way using the timestamps of when they created it. Some people go live when they're creating music and they've used that, like, hey, I made this on this date. You can go to my YouTube page or my Twitch page or whatever and see that I made this live in front of an audience. I had 10 people watching me make this beat live on this date, so someone else can own it. So there are other ways. Of course, the best way, if you want to be fully safe, is to register it, but a lot of times we're on such a deadline that we can't register it. Sometimes the companies we work with will register and things like that. But so by ensuring that our music is properly registered with relevant copyright authorities and licensing platforms, we can safeguard our rights and establish a clear trail of ownership. Sync licensing can be, as I've been sharing the past 12 days, a rewarding journey for us as composers, but it is essential to get the business down, to be well versed in copyright law, to navigate the legal landscape with confidence, and to understand copyright implications, respecting the rights of other creators, and protecting our own intellectual property. We can contribute to a thriving and ethical sync licensing industry. That wraps up day 13 of Syncrets to Success. Come back tomorrow, day 14, for more Syncrets to Success gems. Also, be sure to join the Facebook group Syncrets to Success. I'll have a link in the description. And this is Marcus to Fingaz. I will see you tomorrow. All right. Peace.